All right. All right, well, welcome. Never done a virtual open house before, but first of all, it looks like everyone's on mute. If you could just stay on mute until we get to the end, and then at the end, we'll have time for question and answer. And then there is also a survey at the end for kind of just some feedback about how things are going and a get to know you about your child and your family. So that's a place where you could give feedback as well. So the questions will be strictly things you're wondering, but then a place for feedback will be that survey. So feel free to holler at me if something goes wrong or you can't see or whatever. Okay. I'll make this bigger too. All righty. So here is our kindergarten team. There are 6 of us, so 6 different classes. And then we have a wonderful volunteer, Miss Wasby, who is very artistic, very organized, and she's with us when we're in person and has kind of been behind the scenes doing some things. So if we go back to school this year, you will see all these people around. I'm not going to go into too much detail about myself. Hopefully in the first email, maybe y'all up, y'all got this little link, this bit.ly link that will tell you more about myself. Feel free to take a picture or type it in and save it for later, but it should have been in that initial email. So it tells about my background and where I'm from and my experience in education and some of my favorite things. Okay, so we're gonna have, like I said, a slideshow, a time for question and answers at the end, and then the survey. So I feel like I've been saying thank you for 3 weeks now for your patience and for your help. And we were just talking about schedules. I know that's so hard with work and kids and multiple students, but also for your cooperation and just willingness to help me and your students. It has made this hard process a whole lot easier. So, all right, so this is kind of the bulk of things. Communication, the primary form of communication in Metro is email. And most of you, if not all of you, hopefully are getting my emails. If you aren't, feel free to let me know that. The quickest way I would say though to get in touch with me is Blooms, because I get that to my phone. I don't get my work email to my phone, but I check it. Right here it says I'll check it between 7:30 and 3:30 most days. If I happen to be working late, I'm happy to respond, but for the most part, this is when I'll be checking my email. And then when students are in session, feel free to call the office. That's the quickest way to get in touch with me or students if you need to sign them out or get them a message or whatever. So real quick, is everyone getting my emails and using Blooms? Those will be the most important. Okay. So synchronous learning, you guys have obviously been showing up for, so you know how to get in, but I think the easiest way, if you aren't already doing it, is through Clever. And I think I sent everyone the QR codes, and so hopefully that's an easy way for students to get in. They just hold the QR code up to the camera and it should log them in, so you're not having to re-log in every time. And then this will be our Teams meeting that's the same link every single day where they will always be able to come back to. And a lot of this stuff in the slideshow I've communicated before and has been communicated, but I just wanted to kind of reiterate some things. So this may be a repeat. The synchronous learning isn't required, but should we go back to school, it will definitely be helpful to kind of build that school stamina and them learning, you know, for multiple hours a day. But it is an abbreviated schedule of what we would normally do if we were in school. And starting Monday, I'll start recording. And then I will place that session in that Schoology folder for that day. And so you can go back and watch it. So just some expectations, which y'all have already done great with. Be on time, and even I need to practice this too, but even a few minutes early, just knowing how Teens has been running, I'm going to try and start, booting things up a little bit earlier. And then students should be on mute just to cut down on the background noise, with phone calls and little brothers and sisters, or even older brothers and sisters who are in the same room. It's super helpful if they can stay on mute until they're called on. And I've taught them to raise their hand with either their physical hand or the raise hand button. And then I've also taught them, kind of like school, again, we're thinking like, should we go back into school? We want them as prepared as possible to be seated in a chair or flat on the ground with a relatively neutral background. There's ways on Teams where you can set your background if there's something distracting in the background. But again, students can see everybody, and so it's really nice if there's as little distraction as possible for 5 and 6 year olds. And then one rule that I have when we're in school and they are coming to the carpet to learn is that they come with empty hands. Now, I'm happy to have a conversation about this if they need some kind of fidget tool to stay, occupied with their hands while they're listening and looking at me. But I have, in the years past, asked for students to come with nothing in their hands. So as much as you can in synchronous times, I would ask that they aren't eating or coloring or playing with anything. Even for morning meeting, I know I've started asking them to tell me something good as kind of our greeting, and some of them have brought things, and that's totally fine. But every time I try and say, like, we want to tell something, we don't want to show something. So not even really bringing toys to that. Again, happy to have a conversation about that. And then, like I said, I'll be recording starting Monday. Hopefully I will remember. Feel free to remind me if you notice that I haven't done that. It will be secure, and it will only be through Microsoft. So if I'm on Zoom, I wouldn't probably record necessarily, but if we're on Teams, it will download onto Stream, which is an all Microsoft product, and then it's not public or anything. It will just go into Schoology and only be available for people in Metro to view. And then according to the district, it'll be deleted after a certain amount of time. And I'll also let students know when we start that. So we'll kind of cut out the beginning conversations, that we have when everyone's getting on, and the things that aren't really content related. But also, if you want them to turn their cameras off, if you don't feel comfortable with the recording, they can do that at that time. That's just up to you to have that conversation with your children so they know. When I say, okay, I'm going to start recording, they can just turn off their camera, but keep, their microphone, or I guess the audio on, and then mute and unmute as needed. Here's just a little visual of their workspace. I know we've had some missing workbooks. We did not put together those bags, and so I don't know what was in there and what wasn't. I have a general idea, but anyway, if you are missing Unit 1 workbooks, hopefully you've had a chance to go grab some at Aiken. I've tried to label them with students' names on them, but Miss Diane or Miss Barbour, whoever's in the office, can totally help get that as well if you find you're missing something. And then I mentioned this in an email, but if they can have, some writing utensils and scissors and things kind of close by, that would be very helpful, because we will probably be doing some work together, or I might be modeling and asking them to, do what I'm doing. Charge device, appropriate dress, whatever that means to you. We don't say, school dress necessarily, but as long as it's not distracting. Again, I mentioned the chair or a flat surface if possible. And then also a flat surface, kind of next to their computer or iPad that maybe they could write if they needed to, or even a clipboard if the space is small, or a book or something that they can have a hard surface. Okay, and then asynchronous learning time. Again, you guys have been there, so you know how to get into this, but I think the easiest way is through Clever, and then here are the Schoology links. And then this is what my Schoology looks like when I click on courses. Theirs may look a little bit different with more courses, you know, with related arts and whatnot, but I have asked them to start at ELA every day during their asynchronous learning time and click on this, click on the daily folder and see what's there. When they finish that, they can take a break or move on to math. Click on the daily folder, see what's there, complete the activities, and go through every folder. Feel free to give me feedback. I've never done this, but I just feel like that's the easiest way for them to not miss anything. There is a document coming about, you know, what will be graded and what will be expected of them, because we realize that this may not be the best way to do that. We're all learning how to do this. But anyway, a document will be coming about what's expected of the students each day. So asynchronous time is required, and this says complete all assignments and assessments, but again, our parent, who's also a teacher, Ms. Russ Carter, was saying it is a lot, especially as they get older. And so if you have to choose, I suppose that you could just do the ones that are graded. And that's kind of up to you, whether you think your student needs the extra learning or whether you think they know it and they could just go straight to the assessment. I'll let you guys make that call. And like I said, feel free to give me feedback on the survey. And then I am encouraging my class, it may be different in other kindergarten classes, but if your schedule allows with work and whatnot, to really try and stick within those school day hours. I just know, you know, after 3 o'clock, the attention goes downhill and they're tired. And really, if you can set a schedule, you know, and have them do that independent learning time, that's what I've been calling it instead of asynchronous, that independent learning during that 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock block, or if you get behind, you have pretty much all day on Friday to get caught up. So yeah, but again, do what works best for your family. I know some people are working full time and it's more of an afternoon, evening thing, but again, if we go back to school, it will be helpful that they're used to learning from 8 to 3. Okay, so this is what I was saying about assignments and grades. More information is coming. Like I said, originally I had envisioned them just clicking on every folder, but that may not be best. So more information to come about that. I'll record a video like I kind of have for the other tutorial-like things, and let you guys know what Kindergarten as a Team decides is the best way for them to turn things in, whether that's Schoology or Flipgrid or whatever. But yeah, more information is coming about that. So right now also you won't be able to work ahead necessarily because it may be content that we haven't introduced yet, but you will be able to do those daily assignments. And you'll always be able to go back on Fridays, but there will be more clarity forthcoming about assessments, grades, and submitting various assignments. So here's our schedule. You've seen this before. And again, it's an abbreviated version of our normal kindergarten day. So when we go back, we'll still have, you know, first thing in the morning, our morning meeting, and then ELA, and math is in the morning, which is nice. A lot of times that's in the afternoon and it gets the short end of the stick a little bit. But of course, this 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock will be different. And then Fridays will be different as well. So office hours, I have put the signups on Bloom. I think through the end of this week, I'll make them again for next week, but it will just be a reoccurring Zoom link. And It will be from 2 to 3 every day except for Thursdays. And so if you ever have a problem or your student needs help with something, I will most likely look at the Bloom's link and see if you signed up. And then if someone is on the schedule, I will be on that link and you can just hop on at your time. And then one-on-ones, I'll schedule as needed. And of course we can work with your schedule. And then small groups, again, I'll schedule that. It will most likely be during iTime or asynchronous time. We'll see what works. So some clarification about iTime if this is your first year at Aiken or in Metro. It stands for individualized learning time. And we use data to kind of group the students according to what they need. So we're meeting every student on their level. In the past, we've had a focus on ELA, but that may look different this year. It might be math, it might be reading. I think it's up to us and our data and what it shows that our students need. So that will be coming as well. And it will probably, like I said, be small groups, and there'll be some scheduling and links for different groups. So we'll work through that together and hopefully try and make it as simple as possible. So maybe your student is a very high reader. During iTime, they might be in an enrichment group and they might have a specific link with 10 other kids, 5 other kids, where they click that link and there's a teacher there. It may not be me, it may be another kindergarten teacher or one of our specialists or something who's there giving that lesson for 30 minutes. And then on, the flip side, if there's something that needs improvement or strengthening, we'll put them in a group for that. And they're very fluid, so they can move in and out of those groups, not on their own accord, but if the data shows that they've grown or regress, then we can make a change. Okay, here's the fun part. So on Monday, we are asking that it is an Independence Day for students. So at that point, we'll have had 3 full weeks of virtual instruction. And we are asking that there's certain things that you allow them to be more independent in. And I have them listed here. So responding to questions, so not giving them the right answer or even really prompting them what to say. We can do that as teachers. And as it says here, like not giving the right answer is part of learning, and that productive struggle is part of learning as well. So we are asking that as much as possible, of course, it's not possible, but as much as possible that it could mimic what it would be like if they were in our kindergarten classroom during the day, as far as answering and thinking for themselves and whatnot. Getting the materials that they need, that's something that I don't necessarily do for them. They learn how to use things and where they are in our classroom and how to put them back and clean them up and all these things. So finding a page number, I'll be there to assist with that. Engaging in discussion, muting and unmuting, I think they are getting the hang of, and following rules, I think they're getting the hang of. And those are all things that we can guide them through virtually as educators. But then if there are like real technology issues, we would love your assistance with that. If there's something that we can't fix from across the screen or prompt them to do from across the screen. So that will be Monday. You've gotten hopefully this list before. I think it might have been on the PTO website, but these are the things that we're asking kind of be within arm's reach of kids, not right in front of them to where they're distracting them, but maybe in a box or a bucket or something to where they can grab them pretty easily. And then I kind of added at the end what was in that bag of materials. So I think there was 2 best for all books. There should have been Unit 1, Unit 2, a math manipulative packet, and then the Florida Virtual School packet with a square on it. And one day during synchronous time, we took some time and colored that square just so it stood out a little bit more, and we colored the pencil. So that's something that you can do if your student wasn't there during that particular session. And then there are some books that we'll get to and other things in that as well, but those are the three main things. All right, just a few helpful tips if you aren't already doing it, or if you think it might help with your particular student and your family and what's happening in your household, is to use timers. During our short breaks, our 15-minute breaks, I have been trying to put a timer up on the screen. I'm not sure if that's what's causing some of the issues. I don't know if it's too much, but we'll see. I've been trying to have it count down to when they should be back in front of the computer. And I've asked them to kind of go walk around and take a break away from the screen, go to the bathroom, whatnot. Or alarms, you could even set like one in the kitchen or, on the microwave or something. Create a special place for school and work that's not some place that they would normally sit. Again, here's that allow for productive struggle and student independence, and then allow lots of time for movement and time away from the screen outside of school hours and or during asynchronous time. I find myself needing to stand up and move even at just 1 o'clock when we kind of finish. So I can only imagine how a 5-year-old feels having to sit. But I've tried to also incorporate lots of movement activities and brain breaks during our synchronous time as well. Okay, so it is time for questions if you have any, and if I don't know it, I will write it down and I'll find out. I'm also happy to screen share and kind of walk you through something if there's something that you have questions about. I'm going to stop this.
So, hi, I'm Andrea. I'm Toby's mom. First, I want to say thank you. Like, you've done such an amazing job being organized and doing everything in your power in spite of every single obstacle that's thrown your way to be helpful and lovely and gracious. And so our family is so grateful to you. So I want to start by saying thank you so much. I don't know what we would do.
You're welcome. I don't have to, our kindergarten team is wonderful. So yeah.
It's really been a blessing. I will say, obviously, I probably speak for most parents here. As you know, it's really, really challenging, especially with this age group, to ensure just to get them to the table to sit down and pay attention. And obviously, that's everyone's challenge. What we're finding, surprisingly, is it's not even the synchronous time. It's actually the asynchronous time that it's much more difficult for us, because we're a family of 4, we're all working, and so finding that time between those hours when everyone's juggling work to actually try to sit down with our son to do that is really, really hard, because we're spending a lot of time just getting him to the table. And so I don't know that it's realistic to be able to actually get him to do that work during the asynchronous time that we should before 3 o'clock, just because it's hard. So it would be helpful, I think, and then of course there are all the emails that are coming through. So it would be helpful if we could understand sort of the priorities, and I think just saying like start with ELA and kind of make your way through. But for us, we feel like it's almost overwhelming to have all of this work that realistically a 5-year-old is not going to sit down and do on his own. So someone has to be there. If there was a way to help us prioritize what needs to be done when, I think that would be super helpful. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that or tricks, but that would be really useful.
Yeah, thank you. That's kind of what the Facebook thread that I was just reading this morning, and I honestly have been so focused on the teaching aspect, I hadn't even considered the asynchronous time yet, that it was saying that it's just too much. And so thank you for that feedback. And I think the Word document that's coming will be helpful of what's graded, because we do have to take grades, and in kindergarten we end up assessing a lot one-on-one, because it's letter sounds and letters and numbers that they need to know the name of, so they can't just write it necessarily. Anyway, all to say that I think the Word document will be helpful. If it's still not clear after that's sent, let me know. And then what I was saying also about if it's not in the 8 to 3, it's not like it's going to be late, you know, if y'all do it in the evenings or whatever. But then feel free to give me feedback about the actual load of things. I think like what you were saying as well. If it's too much, then let me know that, because we strictly are going by what Metro has said, and they've cut out a lot of the planning for us, which is nice. But then we're kind of bound to like stick to the scope and sequence that Metro has provided. And all of this is new curriculum. So we've not taught any of the Florida Virtual School for. So yeah, open communication, I'm all about. So thanks. Did that kind of answer a little bit?
Yeah, it did. So thank you. And it's funny because if they were doing the work with you, it probably wouldn't feel like it was overwhelming. But because, I certainly am not an educator. So
Yeah.
I think it's only overwhelming because it's parents
Yes.
trying to do it and work at the same time. But that's very helpful.
Yes, and that's what the Facebook thread said too, was can we do some of this asynchronous work during our synchronous time, which I think is a good idea. So as long as they have those materials, we can totally, do some work, or even like get them started, like do the first 5 together or something. So that's an idea. And then something else you said reminded me of something, another thought, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, this today when we finished after science, I said, school is not over. It's your time to do independent work. And so maybe when they start hearing that, they don't think they're just done for the day and they can go play, I don't know. But if we kind of work that up in them, that there's still work to do. And honestly, this is another thing. I try and get most of the academic work when we're in school done in the morning. And so that's another kind of, to your point, reason to do it during that asynchronous time, because I know that after lunch, they kind of go like this. So I try and do the bulk of reading and writing in the morning if our schedule allows for it. So yeah.
If to kind of piggyback that, because we're kind of struggling with the same thing, our daughter's in actually preschool all day, so to have her come home and do more work, some days she's willing to do it, and other days she's like, I'm done. So the assignments, if we could work on them some on the weekend and kind of have a week to kind of play a little bit of catch up, that would be huge for us. I don't know if that's reasonable or okay.
Yeah. I think we haven't had a lot of direction about, how long things exist until they're due. So I think that's fine. My thing, as long as they're getting them done and real learning is happening, doesn't matter how long it takes them. So, but also knowing we're going to have to put in grades at some point and we want to be valid. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. I'll ask about it. I don't know if it's possible, but I'll definitely ask.
I just think from a parent perspective, independent learning time, kindergarten, I've got 2nd grade, and I've worked really hard to limit screen time for them. Have some exposure to using a computer, but very limited. So this time is the have some exposure to put her in front of a computer, and even if she wants to do it by herself, she can't. Like, they've got to learn how to use a mouse pad. They've got to learn how to grab something, move it. And on floor or virtual, if they see a play button, it takes even longer. So that's a struggle on our end. And then it's, if we click on the date, oh, what have you done in class already? Like, I don't want you to spend time watching something that you've already sat to watch before.
Yeah.
So that's our struggle.
Okay. So I've been putting things if they wanted to watch them again, but maybe, if there's rigor this year, until things kind of ramp up, maybe they don't need to. And so maybe that doesn't even need to be in the folder. Yeah, that's helpful.
And then for us, so last spring and then the summertime, they have mommy school. So they know to expect every day you have to write your name, every day you have to practice numbers, things like that. So it's helpful to me too to get away from the foundational things with needing to write things, and everything is online and not knowing when can I just print something out and just use a workbook and submit that versus am I supposed to have it online? It's just confusing.
Yeah, I agree. And I've been learning what is in Florida Virtual School and like kind of embedded within those lessons that are, I describe them as the orange book to them, and what is in those workbooks that they got. Because I agree, like I want them writing too and not necessarily clicking on a mouse pad. The Florida Virtual School, I will say, it shouldn't necessarily be things that we might have touched on them during synchronous time, but it shouldn't be too much of a repeat necessarily. It should be kind of new. But then again, can't read, the reading to them option is I'm not impressed. It's very robust.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to ask if I missed something. Is that are you talking about where it's like the robotic voice that reads like one? Yeah. Yeah, that was weird.
Yes.
I really thought too that it was going to be like a story.
I know.
But I was going to suggest maybe one thing I noticed one of my older kids teachers was making a checklist for that. It's only for that class, so it would be way more complicated for you. But I was going to ask you the same thing, if you could do some kind of like a weekly checklist. I don't know. I don't want to give you more work, but just for the same reason, like we get overwhelmed with all the links, and then some of them I've been trying to do when I get home at like 4:35, and then he's like, no, I saw that. No, I didn't see that. No, or maybe you could just put a note that's like to rewatch so that we know. I don't know, but anyway, but a checklist for me would be awesome if I could have it like the whole week. So that, like you said, we could do it on the weekends, because yeah, I'm not getting. And I also wanted to know, sorry, that you just thought, she reminded me of this. When you guys, for example, that science lesson that says it's due tonight, but it's not, I mean, you need to print it out, right? Or is it because I don't have the right workbook that I didn't have that? I didn't know.
Maybe. I'm trying to remember.
It was like a 5 senses thing, and it said it was due Thursday at midnight, and I saw that yesterday, and I was panicking because our printer's not working. And
yeah,
I was wondering if that is normally supposed to be in the workbook, if you see something like that.
yes. When I put page numbers, I'm trying to find mine.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, when
Like
I put
1,000
page
things
numbers, they should all be in that
today.
workbook.
Is it this one?
Yes, and that was out of the the workbook
Oh yeah.
where.
Out of the big book.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the one that I didn't get, right?
Right. So the first few weeks we potentially, nothing was required, but you could have printed it out before you had picked up those materials. But now anything that's written, I'm hoping, should either be just a blank sheet of paper or in those workbooks, is how I understand.
So when it says that we should upload it, like with my older kids, they've been like uploading Word docs. Would we just take, I guess that's gonna be in that more info.
Yeah, that's coming. I had a parent actually send me a screenshot of what it looked like on the student's end, because I can't see that. Even if I view it as a student, for some reason, I can't see the submit button. And so, yes, I will do a video and I will teach the kids specifically. But I think they can either take a picture, and then I've also heard of an app that will just convert it to a Word document. You can take a picture, and I guess it kind of becomes a PDF. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's something that I will get sorted out.
But that definitely sounds like something a parent would have to do, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and again, I want them to be able to do it as independently as possible, but that may not be the reality. But the Word document that I was mentioning that will be coming, you could use as a checklist. I think that's.
So it's like a weekly Word document, not like a once and for all information sheet. Oh, okay. I misunderstood that.
Yeah, just right now, I feel like we're, as teachers, treading water a little bit. So I don't know that we could get the whole semester planned, or.
Oh yeah. No. I mean, I thought you meant like it was just a one-time thing with like
Oh,
Here's some overarching rules for the rest of the, virtual learning, but
Gotcha.
you meant like it is a check basically. Okay, I misunderstood.
yeah.
no, I don't
Like
expect
specific
you to plan.
assignments that will be graded. And yes, thank you for clarifying.
So I have a quick question, and maybe
Mhm.
you've already said this.
Mhm.
How do we submit the work again? Do we have to screenshot it from the phone? What
Yeah.
what
So I haven't said because nothing's been graded. And like I said, I didn't even know what it looked like necessarily before yesterday. So I've taken no grades just to let everyone know. Nothing has been graded. I'm trying to just make sure that they're in the habit of even just logging on and, like I said, kind of looking in those folders. I'm under the impression that you can take a picture and that's something that you could do from a laptop. It's not like you have to have a smartphone or anything. You could just pull up the laptop camera and they could hold it up. And I have a document that I can share. I don't love it for students, for kindergartners, but it might be helpful for you guys as parents. And then Schoology does have an app where it's okay. I've used it, but then you could just use the iPhone camera. And then yes, you should be prompted when you click submit an assignment. You should be prompted to be able to upload something. Let me see if I can.
Because we tried Flipgrid. We tried it over and over and over again. So I was
Yes.
wondering if we're gonna have to submit it through there or both, or
Mm-hmm.
this was
Yes. So Flipgrid, I have to approve the videos before they post. So I don't think I've seen Kobe's. I'm not sure why it's not working. I'm happy to try and help later during.
submitted one. Maybe it didn't go through. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll double check, but you may not see it pop up right away. Although I'd be surprised if you didn't get like a message saying it worked and the teacher has to review it or something. So I was gonna try and show the screenshots that someone sent me. So you can kind of see what it will look like if it's labeled as an assignment in Schoology, which I will try and label it more clearly. Super small. I don't think you'll be able. Nope. Okay. To see it. Hang on. All right, I'll try and share my screen and we'll see what you guys can see. Okay. I don't know why it goes away. I know this is super small, but anyway, here's Schoology. And then right here, this parent is saying that there is a submit assignment button.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Yes, and then it prompts you to either type something or upload it. And again, sorry, it's so small, but right here, there's a little icon. I'll post these in Blooms so you can see it bigger. There's a little icon that you can click on to upload a document. And I think there's a way on the computer where you can, again, just have them hold up their paper to the camera and then it will be right there in their photos and they could upload it, or you could help them potentially.
So for kindergarten, none of the stuff is just online, because I know for the older kids, like their Florida virtual school lessons and checks and stuff, they just do it and then hit submit. They don't have to use that button. It's within the Florida virtual school platform. I guess
Yeah, I think there is that too.
Okay, so maybe I haven't gotten to that yet.
Or, yeah, I'm not sure. I think there is at some point. I know our teacher who's a parent who has a first grader mentioned that her first grader has come across some of those things. I feel like it'd be easy for them to skip too, if they're just pressing that arrow
Yeah.
in the top right. So again, I think that's where maybe that checklist will come in handy that
You
says,
can also double click and your answer goes away, which my daughter figured out after she got like zeros on her math test and she didn't realize it. I don't know if it's the same.
Yeah.
Sorry.
and then Schoology has the function too of kind of that science pre-test that I emailed some of you guys about and that some of you guys took, where they can just take an assessment right in Schoology. They don't have to print anything out. So I wish I had a better answer. I wish it was easier. I wish we were just in school. But yeah, okay, this is helpful. So it's 7:15. I can't remember what time Mr. Hartfelder said that this would last until, but any more pressing questions? If not, I'll share the survey and you can give me some more feedback there, ask whatever. Okay, this is, oh, yeah. Anitra, do you have anything?
You may or may not know. So if the children ever get to come back inside of the building, will it then go to a normal schedule, or will you still have to manage the people that choose to still be remote?
I don't know. Yeah, we haven't been given any direction in that area. I've heard different scenarios, but I'm not certain. I did hear that they would make an announcement about the Labor Day deadline this upcoming week by Tuesday, by the end of the day Tuesday, I think is what I heard. So there's information coming about whether we even can return after Labor Day in any capacity. So yeah, sorry. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I've heard different scenarios. Okay, let me put this back up on the screen, and this may be something that you save for later. It's not super short. It may take, I don't know, 10 minutes to fill out. So you can just, if you open up the camera on your phone, I can also send this in an email. But if you open up the camera and hold it up to this, it should prompt you to open up a link. Let me know if it doesn't work or if I need to zoom in. Mine kind of comes up in a banner at the top. Awesome. Okay, thank you. Okay, everyone got it? I'm gonna stop sharing. Thank you guys so much for coming, and this will be recorded, hopefully, if it works, and I'll post it somewhere, maybe on just that YouTube that I have for the other tutorial videos, so you can go back and reference things if you need to. And I would say only about half of us are here, so I know there'll be people who would like to hear what we talked about. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Nice to see everybody.
We'll see your kids tomorrow or next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.